So Tina, tell me about how you found a way to have his autism and his talents coexist together.
Through therapy, we had to work every day, like 3 hours a day. It was tough because we had to desensitize, sound. We had to help him stop hitting, biting, kicking. Look at him today.
Today, we're talking about the truth behind Kodi Lee, the blind and autistic singer who shocked the world on America's Got Talent. Most people think they know his story. They saw the golden buzzer, the tears, the standing ovation. They believe it was just a beautiful TV moment. But what if everything you saw was just the tip of something way deeper?
How did it feel to get that golden buzzer, the first one of the season?
I feel excited.
Kodi didn't just beat the odds. He crushed every label, rewrote every expectation, and built a life no one thought was possible. I've dug into his entire journey, from childhood isolation to global spotlight, and what I found is honestly unbelievable. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how Kodi turned pain into power, and why his story might be the most inspiring one AGT has ever seen. He was born blind, autistic, and with a rare disease. Before he could even walk, life had already stacked the odds against him. But what happened next turned this heartbreaking diagnosis into something unforgettable. Kodi Lee didn't get a soft start in life. From the very beginning, everything was a struggle. He was born July 7th, 1996 in California, to a Korean dad and an Indonesian-American mom. When he was just 3 months old, his parents got devastating news. Kodi had a condition called optic nerve hypoplasia, which meant he would never see. His mother, Tina, remembers falling to her knees and crying, completely overwhelmed. "Okay, God," she said, "I give up. I don't know what to do." But that wasn't even the end of it, because when Kodi turned 4, he was diagnosed with autism. Suddenly, it wasn't just blindness. They were dealing with communication issues, sensory overload, emotional outbursts. Simple things like going to the grocery store became impossible. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of giving up, Tina made a decision. She was going to fight. She found special schools, therapists, and spent every day helping Kodi navigate a world that wasn't made for him. Most people would have stopped right there, but not Kodi. Hold that thought, because it connects to something even crazier. The middle of all this pain, something unexpected started to happen, and it would change everything. He couldn't speak clearly, he couldn't see, but when he touched a piano for the first time, the world finally heard his voice. And what it revealed? You won't believe it. Kodi was just 3 years old when it happened. His mother Tina was playing the piano at home, trying to soothe the chaos of the day, when she noticed something strange. Kodi leaned in, placed his tiny hands on the keys, and after just one listen, he played the melody back, perfectly. It was like watching a silent world suddenly switch on. For the first time, Tina saw a door open. Music wasn't just sound to Kodi, it was a lifeline. But that's not all. A short time later, they took a trip to Disneyland. While most kids were overwhelmed by the colors and noise, Kodi did something else. He started tapping along to a rhythm on his wheelchair. A nearby street band noticed. One of the musicians called him over and asked if he wanted to join. Tina watched in shock as Kodi, her nonverbal, blind son, drummed and sang with perfect rhythm like he'd been waiting his whole life for this moment. What happened next will shock you. That one spontaneous performance sparked everything. It was the first time Tina truly believed Kodi could have a life outside of special schools and therapy rooms. Through music, he wasn't just surviving, he was coming alive. Now here's the twist. Music didn't just help Kodi express himself. It gave him something even bigger, a purpose, a future, and a way to show the world who he really was. He could play music like a pro, but couldn't say, "I'm sad." And while his fingers told stories on piano keys, his heart stayed locked, behind silence. Until one day, it nearly broke him. Kodi's early years weren't just tough, they were heartbreaking. Imagine being a kid with so much emotion inside, but no way to get it out. That was Kodi. He couldn't tell his mom when he was upset. He couldn't ask for help when he was scared. While other kids were learning to talk and play, Kodi was stuck in a world of frustration and tears. But here's where it gets even more painful. Tina, his mom, would often sit with him for hours, just trying to understand what he needed. Sometimes he'd cry for no clear reason. Other times he'd lash out, not from anger, but from the deep ache of being misunderstood. Stick with me. This next part explains everything. The world outside didn't make it easier. Other kids didn't understand him. Parents whispered. Strangers stared. And Kodi felt it all. That invisible wall between him and the rest of the world grew taller every day. For years, it seemed like no one could see past his disabilities. But listen to this. Music was still there. Even when words failed him, the piano never did. It became his way out, his escape, his way of screaming without making a sound. Each note said the things he couldn't, and slowly, painfully, he began to rebuild his confidence. one song at a time. Now here's why that matters. The next time Cody stepped onto a stage, he wasn't just playing music. He was telling the world, I'm here, and I matter. He had a gift that could move crowds to tears, but almost no one saw it. Why? Because the world had already decided who he was, and what happened next will make you question everything. Even after his musical talent became clear, Cody still faced a mountain of doubt. People didn't see potential. They saw disability. Teachers, doctors, even some family friends quietly lowered their expectations. They assumed Cody would never live a normal life, never go beyond therapy sessions and assisted care. It sounds cruel, but it's the truth. But listen to this. Tina didn't believe them. She refused to let Cody's life be defined by other people's limits. Day after day, she sat by his side while he practiced, sang, and struggled. She believed in his talent even when the world ignored it. Still, that didn't erase the pain. There were moments when she wondered if her fight would ever be enough, and that's when it took a dark turn. Because even with all her effort, opportunities just weren't coming. Cody couldn't get into mainstream music classes. Teachers were nervous to include him. Some people even said things like, "It's sweet he has a hobby," never realizing they were talking about a future star. But here's the twist. In those quiet, overlooked moments, Cody kept getting better. His ear for music sharpened. His hands moved faster on the keys. His voice grew stronger, more emotional. He wasn't waiting to be accepted. He was preparing for the day the world couldn't ignore him anymore. And that day, it was coming fast. The stage was massive. The crowd was loud. And Cody Lee, blind, autistic, and unsure of every step, was about to walk into the biggest moment of his life. But no one expected what happened next. In 2019, Cody's family made a bold decision. They signed him up to audition for America's Got Talent. It was a huge risk. Bright lights, roaring applause, unfamiliar sounds, everything that could overwhelm someone like Cody. But his mom Tina believed in him more than anyone ever had. She told herself, "This is your time, Cody. Show them." And then came the moment. Cody stood backstage, holding his mom's hand. The producers called his name. Slowly, carefully, they walked out together. The judges looked on. Simon Cowell, Gabrielle Union, Howie Mandel, Julianne Howe. Thousands in the crowd watched as Cody made his way to the piano, guided by Tina. But here's where it gets interesting. Tina leaned into the mic and told them, "My son is blind and autistic, but he loves music more than anything." The room fell silent. Simon asked Cody how he was doing. And Cody, with the biggest grin, said, "Good," just one word. But it cracked the tension. Everyone smiled. Everyone leaned in. Then he placed his fingers on the piano. What happened next sent chills through every single person in the room. You won't believe what happened after he started playing. Because in seconds, Cody transformed. His hands glided across the keys like he was born on stage. And when he opened his mouth to sing, time stopped. The performance had just begun, but he'd already won their hearts. The first note rang out, and everything changed. People froze, eyes widened, and within seconds, a silent crowd was crying. Cody Lee hadn't just arrived, he had taken over the room. As he sang "A Song for You" by Leon Russell, something electric filled the air. Cody's voice wasn't just beautiful, it was raw. It carried something deeper than sound. It held years of heartbreak, frustration, joy, and hope. Every word he sang felt like it came from a place most people never get to see. It was more than talent, it was truth. But here's where it gets crazier. The judges, known for being tough, especially Simon Cowell, were speechless. Gabrielle Union clutched her chest. Julianne Howe had tears in her eyes. Even Howie Mandel shook his head in disbelief. You could feel it in the room. This wasn't just a performance. It was a moment no one would ever forget. Now hold that thought, because what happened next blew the roof off. As Cody finished his song, the crowd erupted. Standing ovation. Screams. Applause. Tina ran onto the stage, crying and hugging her son. Then Gabrielle Union stood up, smiled through tears, and slammed the golden buzzer. Suddenly, golden confetti rained down, surrounding Cody and Tina in a sea of light. And just like that, a blind, autistic kid who was once written off by the world became the star of the biggest show in America. But this was only the beginning. He had just won over America with one song. But instead of slowing down, Cody Lee hit the gas. Because what happened after his golden buzzer moment, that's when things got really wild. After his unforgettable audition, Cody didn't ride the wave. He created a storm, week after week. On America's Got Talent, he came back stronger. Each performance wasn't just music, it was a message. He played with fire, sang with soul, and told a different story every time he sat at the piano. While other contestants were impressive, Cody was different. He wasn't just competing, he was healing people through sound. But here's where it gets even better. His competition was fierce. The Detroit Youth Choir brought energy. Voices of Service gave emotional power. Dance group V, Unbeatable left. Crowds speechless. Yet Cody stayed true to himself. Quiet, focused, and full of heart. And every week, more people tuned in not just to watch, but to feel something real. Then came the finale. The lights were bright, the pressure was heavy, and Cody delivered one of the most moving performances of the season. When the winner was finally announced, the room exploded. Cody Lee had done it. He was crowned the champion of season 14. The first autistic and blind person to ever win the show. But the real win wasn't the trophy or even the $1 million prize. The real win was what Cody gave to the world: hope, inspiration, and proof that limitations are just stories we tell ourselves. And now, he was just getting started. He had just won America's Got Talent, but instead of chasing fame, Cody did something you wouldn't expect. He turned his spotlight into a lifeline for others. After his big win, Cody Lee had the world's attention. Most stars would have jumped into massive tours or flashy record deals, but Cody had a different mission. He used his fame to give back, to stand up for people like him. He joined the Doug Flutie Jr. Foundation for Autism's virtual gala, performed in front of thousands online, and reminded families everywhere, you are not alone. But that's not all. Cody was scheduled to perform at the Night of Too Many Stars at Madison Square Garden, a huge event raising awareness for autism. Unfortunately, the pandemic hit, and the show was postponed. But even a global shutdown couldn't silence Cody's voice. Stick with me, because this next part explains everything. While the world was on pause, Cody turned to Instagram and TikTok. His living room became his stage. No fancy lights, no big audience, just pure, powerful music. He shared performances, smiled through the screen, and signed every post with his catchphrase, "Heck yeah!" Fans couldn't get enough. His joy was infectious. His energy never dipped. Now here's the twist. Cody didn't just keep the music going, he kept people going. Parents said their kids were saying, "I can do it," because of Cody. That's not stardom, that's impact. And this next move would show us just how unstoppable he really was. Just when you thought you'd seen all of Cody Lee's talent, he changed the game again. Because what he did next proved he wasn't just a singer. He was a full-blown performer. After winning AGT, most people expected Cody to stick to piano and vocals. But one day, he posted something different. It wasn't music, it was tap dancing. And not just a few clumsy steps. This was rhythm, confidence, joy. Fans were stunned. Cody Lee, the same kid once trapped in silence, was now dancing like no one was watching. Except, we all were. But here's where it gets even more surprising. Cody didn't just pick it up as a hobby. He had a teacher, Miss Sarah, who helped him develop real moves. He danced solo, he danced with his siblings, he danced with heart. And every time, his bright smile lit up the screen like a sunrise. What happened next will blow your mind. Videos of Cody dancing spread like wildfire. People who had never heard him sing were now watching him groove to music, clapping and cheering from across the globe. Keep watching, because this next bit is wild. His dancing showed us something bigger than entertainment. It showed us freedom. That Cody wasn't trapped anymore. Not by blindness, not by autism, not by anyone's expectations. He was telling the world, I'm not just surviving, I'm living, and I'm having a blast doing it. But even that wasn't his final act. He started as a kid nobody believed in. Now, he's headlining in Las Vegas, performing at Carnegie Hall, and inspiring millions. But Cody Lee's greatest gift isn't music, it's what he made us all feel. Years after winning America's Got Talent, Cody didn't disappear. He leveled up. He performed at the world-famous Carnegie Hall twice. He sang at the Luxor Theater in Las Vegas, holding his own show from January to May 2024. That's right, the same boy who once struggled to say hello is now commanding the biggest stages in the world. And fans, they still cry, still cheer, still rise to their feet every time he sings. But here's the part that truly matters. Cody never changed who he was to fit in. He never tried to act normal. He didn't mask his autism or hide his blindness. He stood tall as himself, and people loved him for it. For every child who feels different, Cody became proof that your differences aren't your weakness, they're your superpower. Now here's the twist. In 2023 and 2024, he kept competing in AGT spin-offs, All-Stars, Fantasy League. He showed up and gave everything, even earning Howie Mandel's golden buzzer again. He didn't need to prove anything, but he still wanted to share more, reach more, and lift others higher. And the reason that matters? Because Cody Lee's story isn't just about music. It's about fighting through silence, standing through storms, and shining so bright that the whole world has to stop and look. So if you've ever felt unseen, if you've ever been told you can't, just remember Cody, because his life shows us something we should never forget. Being different is not a limitation. It's the beginning of something extraordinary.